When you think of the future, you likely envision the remarkable technologies that you've seen in comic books and films. You may begin to picture flying cars, trains driven by electromagnets, or household robots that will see to your every need. While modern scientists agree that many of these inventions are either unlikely or unnecessary, it may surprise you to learn what the future could actually hold. Imagine being able to share your thoughts with millions of people at once, simply by typing them on a keyboard and sending them through the air. Think of what life will be like when all of the many fixtures of an office, including a typewriter and an entire Rolodex, can fit within a device smaller than a loaf of bread. Consider the vacation plans you could make when a single trip on an airplane is all that's needed to visit anywhere on Earth. Yes, the future certainly looks bright, but it isn't without its darker sides. According to some predictions, obesity will likely run rampant, and political corruption will become so commonplace as to be accepted. People with nothing entertaining or informative to say will broadcast their demands for attention, and once beloved performers will become pushers of snake oil. Perhaps worst of all will be the emergence of a deadly and potentially devastating disease. Think of the last time that you contracted influenza. You were likely bedridden for days, having no appetite or desire to play games. Experts predict that by the year 2020, a new virus will rise, spreading from somewhere in Asia to the rest of the world. And with international travel being available to even the most common citizen, a sickness which would have been contained in years past will quickly spread to all corners of the globe. Worse still, the fantastic technologies of the era, the instantaneous communication and the ability to spread misinformation will cause undue panic and unrest. While you may think that we have decades to prepare, the frightening truth is that we have already become susceptible to the spread of this upcoming pandemic. The people preparing our food will do so without washing their hands, and the declining standards for common hygiene will cause the release of marauding clouds of infection. Even today, children would prefer to attempt the carefree murder of their playmates rather than lecture one another about covering their mouths when they cough. So how do we reverse this trend? How do we avoid the coming catastrophe? Many doctors would suggest that we simply need to learn and practice better health habits, but that may not be enough. As it turns out, there is a solution. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Well, no wonder my laundry bill is so high. All those napkins last week.
Doeskin.
What?
You should use Doeskin dinner napkins.
Paper napkins? Oh, no.
I don't mean thin little paper napkins, but Doeskin dinner napkins. You'll love them.
Everybody loves Doeskin dinner napkins. These soft linen-like napkins are 2-ply in smart formal fold, in white and in beautiful pastel colors. And Doeskin dinner napkins are big. They cover your whole lap, and they stay put. What's more, they last throughout the meal, and they leave no lint.
But they are nice. And they would save my linen.
They save you money, too. Doeskin dinner napkins cost only 49 cents for 5 dozen. That's a fraction of a penny apiece.
All right, Dottie.
You'll find Doeskin dinner napkins, Doeskin facial tissues, and other Doeskin products at your favorite grocery, supermarket, department store, or drugstore. Look for the brown dispenser box.
Doeskin.
And now, the answer about how to avoid the deadly virus set to sweep the world.
invincible.
Forced McConnell to ask the Senate to pass a formal motion to proceed on the defense bill, which would let Republicans move forward on the Pentagon priority without a vote on the $2,000 checks. Now, what ended up happening? Well, we'll get to that in just a second. But first, I think it's important for you guys to see the argument that Bernie Sanders was making on the Senate floor yesterday, and he did so using Donald Trump's tweet. Let's watch.
So even on this issue, amazingly enough, the president of the United States is right. So what all of this comes down to, my fellow Americans, is not even whether you agree with Senator Schumer and myself and 78% of the American people, or you agree with Senator McConnell, and I suspect Senator Toomey, that's fine. It's called democracy. We have differences of opinion. All that I am asking is give us a vote. What's the problem? Allow the United States senators to cast a vote as to whether or not they are for the $2,000 check or whether they're against it. We will need, as I understand it, 60 votes to win. That's a big hurdle. I don't know that we're going to win. There are a number of Republicans, to their credit, who have said they're ready to vote for it. I suspect there may be more, when given the opportunity, who will vote for it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we will lose. I think that would be unfortunate. But all that I am asking for right now is give us the opportunity to vote. What is the problem with that?
So there's Bernie Sanders fighting for a vote on the direct relief checks to Americans. And as the Daily Poster continues to write, as Republicans saber rattled about the need to pass the defense bill, 41, that's right, 41 Democrats obediently voted with McConnell, allowing him to move the defense bill forward without a vote on the checks. That includes yes votes from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who claimed that he was going to fight for those direct checks, by the way, and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, who just earlier was promoting the direct checks to Americans. But Cenk, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because there was a lot of talk coming from Democratic lawmakers, especially Democratic leadership like Chuck Schumer, and they didn't deliver.
Yeah, so this is a near perfect case of how politics works in America. So I really need you to understand this and absorb it. So Sirota did a brilliant job in pointing it out, and everything in there is absolute fact. It's inarguable by anyone in the mainstream media, yet of course they either are silent or part of this plot, as we'll explain later in the program. So first thing you have to understand is what Bernie Sanders is doing is saying the defense bill you're all saying is a must pass. I can block it. In fact, if others join me, we can block it together until we get a standalone vote. Now, McConnell's plan is to not have you vote on the $2,000 check by itself. He wants to include provisions that he knows Democrats and Republicans are against, so it has no chance of passing. So Bernie Sanders says, no, give it to me by itself. Now, Democratic leaders pretend that they're in favor of voting on this by itself. Now, if they block the defense bill, not permanently, but for some time until they got that vote, they could actually get the vote. That's it. They could definitely get a standalone vote on $2,000 checks if they block the defense bill. And this is amazing. 5 Republicans voted with Bernie Sanders. So with the 5 Republicans, they can definitely block the defense bill until they get a standalone vote. And Democrats, knowing that they could win, surrender. Because as I told you throughout the week, the Democratic leadership does not actually want to pass the $2,000 checks. In fact, I had a slight disagreement with David Dayen from the American Prospect about this. He's a great reporter, and he just said, look, I'm looking at the facts, and Pelosi passed it, and Schumer and Durbin say they're for it. And so far, they've fought in some ways. Now, to be fair to David, don't get me wrong, they had not yet done this vote. So now with this vote, it's absolutely confirmed. No, Chuck Schumer, Dick Durbin, and certainly all the corporate Democrats in the Senate, which is almost all of them, 41 of them, all did not actually want you to get the $2,000 checks because they actually had, this is not symbolic. It's not we're yelling and screaming for no purpose. No, they could have actually blocked the vote or forced the vote, if you will, to actually get the $2,000 checks.